We're live.
We are live. Sorry about the time. I was too busy scoring too many goals in my sweet triple L jersey or sweater, I believe is the proper nomenclature.
Sweater.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. A few housekeeping tips. We have the Whaleys are live now. If you go to the Whaleys.com, it's going to be our D2C award show. Think of the Oscars for D2C. We're taking the approach of kind of like the mullet idea of an event where it's very business in the front, party in the back. So we have 2 days of education and then two big parties. We're renting out an incredible barbecue joint here in Austin called Lambert's. Really, really great food, really awesome venue. And then the second night after education, we'll be giving away 8 Whaleys, 8 different categories. You
Eight
can
of them?
nominate 8 of them. There's 8 Whaleys. Yeah. So we'll do that, give away some awards, and then have a little bit of a party. So be sure to nominate. And then once the nominations are in, we'll then send out another form to vote. But we look forward to having everybody and showing off the city. You'll be able to meet the whale wrangler himself, Logan Brown, and a bunch of other people on the team. Max and AJ will be here. So if you want to meet the co-founders, it's going to be a really, really awesome event. So hope to have you there. Yeah, lasso people in. And then we have tickets right now are 50% off. So all that money that you pay will go towards all of your food. Everything's paid for. So you just walk in, learn, have fun, watch your ROAS go up, make unforgettable connections. But yeah, so that's February 1st and 2nd of 2023. Be sure to pop in. But today, this is going to be the last Whale webinar actually for the year, which is kind of sad that we're missing Sonder, but he had some family stuff to go deal with. So he's at his daughter's birthday party right now. So priority,
Cool.
Shout out Sonder.
Yeah.
But
Happy
Logan has
birthday.
Oh, there's a little birthday song. What record do you have back there, Logan?
You know how it is. Four guys from Vermont. You know what I mean? It's just
you are just super fan. Did you go to the concert or you're going?
next weekend.
Next weekend. Oh my gosh, this guy.
I know. It's like the Super Bowl of fish for fish fans. So
it's amazing. What's the not John Mayer trio, but what's the Grateful Dead cover? He's in a Grateful Dead cover band, isn't he?
I don't know if you call it a cover band. It's a spin-off at best. But yeah, okay. Dead and Company. It has three of the original band members. So
okay, so that's not
got OG people in it. Yeah,
it's kind of like Rage Against the Machine, Audio Slave. Tomato. Okay, music history aside, today what we want to do is get you guys some really cool frameworks to understand acquisition costs, profitability. So we'll be talking a little bit about MER, contribution margin, all these fancy terms. If you do have any questions, obviously pop them in the chat or put them in questions. We'll obviously give away some merch as always. But Logan, this was kind of your brainchild, and I loved it. So take us away, kind of lay the land for us.
Yeah, well, we've been talking to customers recently. One, I think it's a good topic for end of year, going into the new year, like thinking about how you want to visualize and map out your store success, which hopefully you're doing in Triple Whale. And then speaking to some customers, like I just realized that there's a lack of knowledge right now about what metrics to pin, what metrics we would maybe say are most important. Everyone has their opinion, but like new customer ROAS, new customer CPA, MER, MER, like ROAS, what are those numbers, how to visualize them, and then like how to set goals for them, I think has been missed a bit. So I thought this would be a great conversation for us to kick off so that people could go into the new year and feel a bit more confident about their projected spend, projected revenue, and like how much they're really willing to spend on a new customer in Q1.
I love that. So where should we jump off?
Well, I figured we would at least talk about the definition of MER, MER. Sorry, I say MER, you say MER. We got Merman and MER. So like what I think most people maybe don't even understand the Merman versus the ROAS. But yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So MER is revenue divided by your costs, like your ad costs.
Right? What does MER stand for?
Media efficiency ratio.
Marketing efficiency.
So the way that we show it in Triple Whale is actually as a percentage. So take your total ad spend divided by your total revenue. multiply that by 100, and that's your percentage. And so you'll see basically MER is the inverse of your ROAS. So if you're operating at a 4 ROAS, you're at a 25% MER, meaning that you've spent 25% of the revenue made on customers and orders. That hopefully that makes sense there. Hopefully
Yeah,
y'all
I'm
are
gonna
following me.
pull up a visual for you so
Oh, that'd be
it'll make
great. Yeah, thank
a
you.
little bit more sense for everyone. 1 second. Let's do like a last 90 days. Because we actually give you, hey Demos, hey Mercon, hey Jose. Excited to have you guys. What's up, Tomas? Okay, let's share screen real quick. All
Everybody's in
right.
here. Yeah, and so as you guys as we talk about this too, like please leave questions or in the chat, and then we can make sure we kind of cover what's most important in live time.
So let me do this here. Yeah. Okay. What's up here? Profitability metrics. Okay. I'm going to do this all the way down here. So I'm just using the new design, fancy drag and drops, all the good. Okay. So going back to
Hey, show
okay.
everybody how
So
to change over to the new design, by the way. Just
okay.
quick. I'm not sure if everyone's using it yet, but you can use the toggle there in the settings cog and change between old and new design. The new design's pretty slick. So definitely worth upping your visual game going into the new year.
Yeah, and you can actually. What's interesting, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure because I have it. You can rock a different design depending on if you're using our amazing mobile app or if you're on the desktop. Correct? There's 2 different settings. It does not persist. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
Okay, cool. So let's go through this. So we call this MER blended ROAS is, to Logan's point, same but different. It's just a different representation. It's an absolute versus a percentage. So these 2 things are telling you the same thing. It's just different. So this is what would be called blended ROAS or MER. Again, it's just a different representation. Do you just call MER as the percentage form? Is that what
Yeah,
you
well, I
consider
think I've
MER?
seen in the industry people do it differently, but
Yeah.
I mean, I like it the way we set it up with the percentage because it's like the inverse of your ROAS, and so you can look at it as a percentage if you like visualizing that, like what percent am I spending
Yep.
on customer acquisition,
Yep.
or really order acquisition. Let's say that's what that is, and so really the higher the number, the thinner you're pushing your margins overall.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say the lower the number, the better. It could mean you're leaving money on the table if you're not spending enough. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how to read those two and like what variables in your store will kind of make that number fluctuate up or down. And then there's actually like a more advanced thing I want to talk about at the end when it comes to trying to figure out MER on like an accrual basis.
Yep.
So like just because your MER is high today doesn't mean that that's indicative of the performance of your store in the future. Because you could be
Yeah.
spending a lot today to acquire orders that may not even be realized for 3, 7, 10 days down the road.
Oh,
So
I love that.
follow
And we
me
have
there.
another metric. Yeah, and we have another metric there. So just to round out to make sure that everybody's following along, and then Jose, we'll get to that question of a healthy MER because it's actually not as straightforward of a question as Logan was saying, because it's a function of ad spend. You can have a really healthy MER and a really terrible business. So going back to Logan's point, this is going to be your blended ROAS. So what this is going to show you, or your MER, it's essentially again the same thing, but the way you would read this is again the formula here is going to be your total revenues divided by total ad spend. And so what this is telling you is for every ad dollar you're spending, you're generating $7.67 in revenue. And then to Logan's point, he prefers this percentage representation because for him it's a little more intuitive. And so the way you would read this is for you're spending 13% of your revenues on ad dollars. So they're very, very helpful to have whatever representation you prefer. But that's what he's talking about when he says MER. And this MER is, again, going to be your basically that inverse of your total ad spend divided by your total revenue. So these are the same they're essentially telling you the same thing, just giving you a different representation because they're just inverted in terms of the denominator or numerator and denominator. Um,
Yep.
okay,
And
so dive more. I'm with you. I think everybody's tracking.
yeah. So let's start high level and then we'll try to get deeper and deeper. So one reason I like seeing it as a percentage is that each month you're likely or you might want to try to set an advertising budget for yourself, right?
Yep.
And so we'll get to like maybe how to back that out in a minute. But like if once you have backed that out, you can decide like, hey, listen, a 20% MER is where we feel most comfortable. And so if you set a revenue goal for your business per month, it's really easy at that point to say, take 20% of that. And that's what we're willing to allocate towards marketing budget. And then you have
Yep.
to go decide where we want to spend that money, what's going to give us our best returns, which you can use the pixel to understand better, which is great.
Amazing plug.
So, yeah. So, all right. So, a couple of things that will affect MER over time. Specifically,
And
returning
can I
customers.
cut
Yeah, go
can I
ahead.
cut you off there real quick? Because
Yeah.
you're on a bunch of amazingness. So what Logan is saying, if you were running, so say you were running this account and your target MER was 20%. And if you logged into this account, Logan, and you saw like, and you're looking back, say the last 2 weeks or something, or the last week, and you see that there's a 13% MER here, what would be the action that you would take?
Well, the first thing yeah, let's go through a couple of things and it'll actually flow well into what I was just about to say. So, returning customers will always drive MER down. Okay. Because you're hopefully not spending beyond maybe just some like Google branded search or something like that. You're not spending ad dollars to go and acquire repeat business. So, one thing I would do if it were me, let's say it was 13%, I had a target of 20. I'm first going to look at my revenue. Am I on target to meet the revenue goal I had for the month? And I'm going to go look at repeat versus new customer revenue for the month currently. Now, if I see that my retention business is doing fantastic, right? I could be at 60% returning customers, 40% new, which means the email flows, all of that stuff are just like firing off and doing really well. People are coming back for repeat business. That might be like an example of what you see during Black Friday, right? So, like
Right.
those 2 weeks could be almost like upside down with like returning to new customer percentages. You follow me there?
Yes, and so I kind of want to just put a plot or a flag in the ground. So the way you look at that is you would either look at your sales or net sales, depending on if you care about recognizing those refunds or not. And so Logan is saying, okay, cool. I am below the target of 20%, which means I'm doing way better. I'm doing 7 points better than what I have allotted for budget. So
Mm-hmm.
before I make any changes, I want to see how much money I'm making because again, you guys got to remember that this is a function of ad spend. So another way to take your or lower your MER, in this case, lower. In this case, you'd want it higher. But to lower your percentage MER, you just don't spend more on ads. You just pull your ad spend back, and that'll, by definition, just make that go up more because that denominator is going to be smaller. And so he's saying, okay, cool. Well, what is this indicative of? Well, I know it's not because I'm spending less money on ads. My ads are up 41% compared to the previous period. Okay, so that's good. So I'm spending more and I'm 7 points under my goal. And then you're going to go say, okay, cool. Well, then what is my actual sales? Okay, sales are looking really good. Amazing. Now, what does my customer mix look like? A 70-30 split. It's about right, depending on what your to Logan's point, seasonality as well as the age of the business. And so if you do have a very new business, you might, to Logan's point, have the new customer cohort be bigger than the returning customer cohort. But eventually, especially if it has some sort of subsequent purchases, like it's not like an AOV business where you make indestructible wallets and you never buy another thing, you do want that returning cohort to become larger. And then to Logan's point as well, I want to see how much my email is actually contributing to this. And so you can see this email is contributing a lot. And then checking seasonality. Okay, this is looking across their Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, which is going to bring in a ton of money through email sales. As you can see, most of that revenue came from campaigns, which are so there's two ways to send communications in Klaviyo. There's flows, which are going to be action or attribute based, and then there's campaigns, which are sent by a human. You can see that almost a quarter, 24% bump in that time period was from that. So, am I kind of coloring in the narrative so far?
Yeah, you're doing good here. And I would say that, like, because we're looking over a period where there was a high rate of returning customers, it's not going to be as indicative of like what you'll likely see in your accounts come January.
Yep.
So the returning the new to returning customer rate will likely be flipped the other way around. Like it'll be 70% new, 30% returning. And at times of your business, that can be a healthy thing, but that's also going to be where MER looks much higher. And you can see even here, like it's still 33% new and 67% returning. So here's exactly what I would do if I was running this account. The next thing I would do is I would look at my NCPA to AOV, which essentially is your new customer ROAS. Okay. So what new customer ROAS really is like, it's not exactly average order value, but it's all new customer revenue divided by ad spend. Okay.
Yep.
But what you can do what you can do on new customers is try to understand what is my average order value. Let's say, and I don't know what it is for this account, but it's like, $100. Clearly it's more than that though.
Let's see, $1.50.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So $1.50, you're spending $60 to acquire them. So say again.
Don't we have new customer AOV now? Or we can make it now, can't we? I totally stopped your flow. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah,
You're
we'll come
jamming.
back to that. You can't exactly make it in a great way. It needs to be calculated off the orders that come from the new customers themselves.
No, we have it. New customer revenue divided by new customer orders.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did add. That's a new thing to mention.
So let's add this. I hope it does.
We added new customer revenue and returning customer revenue, whereas before we used to only have it as a percentage. So yeah, make that and check it out. That's one thing too that you guys should be looking at in the pixel if you're not already, just to talk about going a bit against, like we're talking about margin, MER. Make sure you have your new customer CPA, new customer ROAS versus your overall ROAS in the pixel table, kind of side by side. And you can also look at new customer AOV in the pixel, which will show you if returning or new customers are spending more. Like I saw one account last week where returning customer value was AOV was almost $20 higher than new.
Oh wow, that's pretty healthy then, right? Where it's pretty close to
your actual, your blended AOV.
Yeah, our proper AOV. Where did I put that? Actually,
and that is going to be very dependent based on every business too, because it depends on how wide of a range your SKU set is. So if like the only thing you sell is $150, then like likely the only reason you would see AOV drop is if you're giving them a heavy discount on the first purchase or something. So pay attention to that too. Like if your sticker price is $150 and you see the new customer AOV is $130 and it costs $60 to acquire them, you have to do that math in your head. Like, is it worth the 20% that I'm taking off the top for these customers? So something to think about.
I broke something. Whoops. The other thing is, do we have we have that, I think. Do we have discounts? We have discounts, yeah? Or no?
Yeah, it should.
Maybe we don't. I thought we did. We should bring that in because that's a really good point that you make. You want to see how much money you're giving away through a discount. That's pretty interesting. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I feel silly for not knowing that, but it could be. I feel like we talk a lot about things we'd like to put in there, and then what the reality is something different.
Fair play.
Well, let's take a pause for a second because we've got a few questions that I think would be worth. They're not actually in the questions, but they're in the chat. So
let's do
Joseph. Are you going to copy and paste some over?
Yeah, so I'll just MC for you.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so this is from Joseph Lamb. Thank you, Joseph. How does MER, let's start the answer. How does MER marketing efficiency or media efficiency ratio change over the life cycle of a business, assuming it's higher with less brand market awareness, then decreases later. So you're saying, or how would you interpret this or answer this question, Logan?
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with this. I mean, you're gonna let's just say you're a fairly new brand, like a year old.
Yep.
You're still out there grinding the pavement, trying to get new customers and brand awareness, right?
Right.
You're probably paying a pretty steep cost per new customer in the beginning
Yep.
because they have no idea who you are, and so it's going to take some time to build up that trust and buzz and whatnot. So yeah, I would say that that's true. And but again, you can't stop trying to acquire new customers or you'll completely dry up your business. So the next part I was going to mention about that
Yep.
13% MER is that you need to go look at your new customer ROAS. And
Ooh, I like that.
if it's healthy, like we saw, that customer was a 30% new customer to 70% returning. If
Yep.
everything looks healthy, I'm under my MER goal, my new customer ROAS is in a healthy place. I need to go find the channels that are driving the best return and go spend more. That's what I need to do. I need to go spend more on new customer acquisition, and so that's going to help continue to like feed the flywheel because you want to make sure then to go look in Triple L and see how fast do they come back to purchase. So that's like on your LTV 60/90. So like look at how quickly customers are coming back. As long as you have that good lifecycle marketing set up, and if you're under your MER goal and you have a new customer ROAS in a healthy place, like continue to go after new customers. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely 100% concur. I think that you're thinking of this correctly, Joseph, in terms of that's exactly usually what's going to happen. Another thing that to take into account as well is that you're going to have, or the way the algorithms work and just the way life works in general, you're usually going to clear out and acquire your best customers first. And so as you kind of clear out those customers and you start to gain scale, the next customers that you're going to acquire are usually going to be more expensive and they're probably going to spend less money because you've already acquired kind of all your super fans. And so there's going to be kind of those headwinds that you're going up against, but that's exactly the order operations for me that I would run as well where okay, this MER looks really great. Are we spending less? Is that how we're getting better MER? No, our spend is up. Okay, that's good. What's our mix look like? Our revenue's up. Okay, that's good. Customer mix looks super healthy. That's good. This isn't great. You don't want to see that drop in new customer revenue, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, I think that's just a really cool way to look at it. And then you see this new customer ROAS and you know, okay, cool. So the way you're going to read that is you're saying for every dollar in ad spend, you're generating $2.46 in new customer revenue. And to Logan's point, what can happen if you're only driving with MER is that what I like to call you start to wring a dry towel where you're not acquiring new customers. And so eventually you're just wringing a dry towel where every essentially customer that you acquire is going to have some LTV ceiling that is very hard to move. Like it's pretty much set once they start to interact with your business. And so if there's no more people to squeeze on and you start to hit those LTV, you can think of it almost like the potentiality of like a rubber band. That rubber band starts to lose that tension because there's no more new customers coming into the fold. But that's a great answer, Logan. Fantastic. All right,
Yeah,
let
one
me
thing
get
I'll just add one little thing that's kind of fun on top of that. Go read the
Yep.
article about how Peloton fired their marketing team in 2020, maybe coming out of 2020 and 20. So the pandemic hit, Peloton was on top of the world, and it was the bikes were selling themselves. Right, people didn't want to go to public places and work out, but they didn't think they needed a marketing team to continue spending for them, and it dried up. I mean, go look at their stock over the last year. So it's that's like a fun case study in like, hey, you thought your product was selling itself and MER was probably dropping down. The books looked good for a while, but then what do they call it? The chickens come home to roost. So
Yep.
yeah.
The other thing that I would also add there as well is um, outside of the little baby subscription revenue that they get, there's no other way to really get a bunch of money from people after they buy their bike, and their bike were really low margins, and so it was a challenge for them. Not only is there less new customers, but what are you going to sell them? Really great point.
Tomas, it was Peloton, like the workout bike. I'm not sure what the
Pelly.
article was, but just look up Peloton lays off marketing. They laid off like their CMO and a bunch of staff in the marketing group a year or so back. All right. So, question for the situation where a product line being sold, where the vast majority of revenue is generated by first purchase. Okay. So, we make woodworking tools. So, it actually is the core product being purchased once with lesser accessories available. Yeah. And so, all right, let's go a bit deeper, right? We talked about high level. What is MER? What is ROAS? What are the levers that affect MER, right? The new and returning customer rate. Okay. Now let's go a bit deeper into like contribution margin, and how like new customer cost per acquisition rolls into what we call AMER. Okay. So AMER is new customer MER, just like you have new customer ROAS and you have ROAS. The inverse of NC ROAS is AMER. Okay. Now for this, who asked this question? Oh, this is Jacob. So Jacob, think about this. Two things. One, what is your 60-day LTV on customers acquired? Okay. And you have to decide as a business owner, can you wait 60 days to get cash in the door, right? Do you need to be profitable on order one, or do you need to be profitable in 60 days? Can you wait that long? The next thing you need to understand is your contribution margin. So take your AOV or 60-day LTV, then subtract your variable expenses. So think about new customer cost per acquisition. That's a variable expense. Your COGS, shipping, if you give free shipping away, right, and you don't take it on the order, and then that's where you have to decide like how much am I willing to spend on new customers, and then how many returning customers are coming back into the program, the mix here, to feed the beast. Because if you only have new customers coming in to buy your one tool, and they're not coming back to buy the accessories, your MER is probably going to look pretty rough. Not rough, like you're probably going to be sitting at a 40 to 50 to 60% because you're solely making your money off of new customers. And if you have like an amazing product that's selling like gangbusters, then your MER could look really healthy, right? Like everybody wants this product. Your marketing efficiency is just insane, right? So that's one thing I think everybody needs to think about is like, what is your contribution margin and what's a healthy one for your business? And that's
Can
how you
you
get back out into AMER.
can you kind of, for people that don't know, talk through, like, explain like your five, what contribution margin is?
Yeah, it's revenue minus variable expenses.
Okay, so that would be what? So what do you include in there? COGS, shipping. What are you considering variable expenses? Those are the two
Yeah,
big
the
ones,
the
or?
three the three biggest ones would be shipping,
Yep.
COGS,
Yep.
and ad spend.
Oh, wow. So you take ad spend into account as well.
Because it's variable, right? Like over time, you can acquire a customer for $10, and then another time you could acquire them for 40.
Love,
Yeah.
love it.
So that and contribution margin, I guess, is kind of like gross margin.
That's what POAS is essentially. It's CMOAS, but we don't. CMOAS sounds terrible.
Yeah. So pay attention to that and try to make sure that like, and like I was telling Jacob, for Jacob's business, if he's got a really good flywheel rolling where they come in and they buy the first tool and they're
Yep.
coming back really quickly to buy all the accessories, it might be okay to take a loss on the first purchase or be break even.
Right.
But if you can't afford that, if you need to be profitable, think about POAS needs to be above one. Okay.
Correct. Yep. Yep. That makes tons of sense for me. So that's essentially what we're doing here with POAS is we're calculating what gross profit you're generating, or the contribution margin essentially is what you're generating per ad dollar. And so the way you'd read that is for every dollar in ad spend, you're generating $4.49 in contribution margin or gross profit. So that's a really good explanation, Logan. Did that
So Rob, I
make
don't think they
sense?
can see the metric you were actually describing because the overlay, the
Oh, crap. Okay. It doesn't overlay on mine. Sorry.
oh there it is.
This
So
is
POAS,
this
yeah.
POAS right here. will
Yeah,
show
and
you
that's really
that.
healthy. I mean, you can see right here in this account, like when you're operating at a 7.5 ROAS and a 4.49 POAS, like you're as a business owner, I would say you're just deciding right now like how much cash you want in the bank, right? It's
Yep.
like you can go spend more if you want to like try to grow the business to like the next level of revenue, or you can keep it as is and just take more off the top as
Correct.
your salary or whatever. You're pretty much deciding if you're trying to invest back in the business or take more profit, I would say in this scenario.
Yeah, this is to your point, really healthy economics. You really like that nice trickle down where your blended's always going to be more than your new customer ROAS and your POAS because your blended, the numerator is not deducted by anything. And then the new customer ROAS, the numerator is only new customer revenue. So that's obviously less than than all revenue. And then your POAS is usually going to be in between that because you're taking this blended metric, but then you're deducting your variable costs, as Logan said. So that's shipping, that's ad spend, and that's your COGS. And we'll import your COGS for you from Shopify if you don't have them, or you can input them as well. And that is just in your store settings here, where you go down here to put any cost of goods sold there. But yeah, that's really really helpful, Logan. I think that's something that um, ultimately, so we kind of beat on this bush a little bit too much, but I think it's really important. But when you're deploying paid media, you care about three things: effectiveness, efficiency, and profits. And these two, MER and blended ROAS, are going to be the representatives or heuristics for how effective your ad dollars are. Like, how effective are your ad dollars at getting somebody to buy? And that's what this metric is going to be. This can also be really nice, to Logan's point, in terms of like forecasting and projecting. And then it's also really nice to run an account usually from that sometimes. And then you have these other spot checks of making sure how efficient are my ads at bringing in new blood. That's going to be that new customer ROAS. And then how profitable are my ads. So effectiveness, efficiency, and profits are really the three things you care about. And then these are going to be, there's different proxies you can use for that, but these are usually the three best. And then one thing, what is a MER, Logan? What do you? It's just new customer revenue divided by blended total ad spend.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
It's the inverse of NC ROAS. So the way you have it
right.
here is you have ROAS, the inverse of ROAS is MER,
Yep.
and then you have NC ROAS, the inverse of that is AMER, which isn't in this table. I
But I could.
honestly think it can be a little more confusing. That's why I was really trying to drive home. Think about your economics of your business. Do you need to be first order profitable, or can you wait 60 or 90 days to be profitable based on repeat business?
Yep.
And then determine your new customer acquisition cost. That was
Yep.
almost one of the only things I did as a marketer, like in Triple Whale, was that I had my NC CAC, like, or CPA, up there in my
Yep.
pin metrics. And I
Yep.
had all these ideas for places we could spend money. And then
Yep.
we had to go develop, like, you know, creatives and offers and work with the product team to make sure we are delivering the right kind of product at the right time. And as long as my CPA, NCPA goal was met, I would try to continue to scale my ad spend, right? Because the returning customers, I'm managing that. I've got my lifecycle marketing set up with SMS and email, and those kind of things. And so that's my suggestion: is focus more on NCPA, and making sure that's in a healthy place for your business.
The other cool thing is we actually have these little moniker or coloring. So if you know, so for example, we could go here and see. So let's just do this. We'll go to some insights. We'll look at the 60-day, 90-day LTV. So let's just say we're okay and we can eat cash up to 90 days. So I don't know why my internet's being slow. Sorry. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe I broke it.
Wouldn't it be cool if there was music playing?
I know we need some little. Oh god damn it!
Or we do have the little video game. That'd be kind of neat if it was like Google Chrome
Oh
when you lose your
yeah.
internet and like you play the video game.
Oh, we took it out. Floppy URL. I don't know what I broke. Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. So you can say you have a 90-day amount of cash flow where it's like, I'm cool to spending in a 90 days. So you're making around $255 in 90 days from your customers on average. And then to Logan's point, you can go back to your summary page and then say, okay, cool. If I know, we'll just make the math easy. Call it $250. We'll build in some fluff. I know in 90 days, I'm going to get out $250 from somebody. I'm in a really good place if my new customer CPA is only $60 because I still have $190 of of revenue to generate from this person, and I shouldn't be spending any more ad dollars on them. And so that's a really, really good place. It's almost 3x what you're acquiring them for. So that's a really good place to be. And so that's kind of, I might be making the water a little bit more muddy, but that's another way that you can use that. When you use new customer CPA, you really want to make sure that you have a good hold on your LTV, because that's essentially what Logan's talking about, is that you're okay with acquiring people for up to X amount because you know you're going to get Y amount from them in 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, whatever that look back period is that you prefer.
Yep. And the only other thing I would add there is just think about if your business has various price points in the product suite. One thing I had to be very cautious of is that summertime we sold swimwear,
Yep.
which was about 40% lower AOV than in the wintertime when we sold outerwear, right? So your
Interesting.
NCPA should be adjusted to reflect profitability at AOV for at different seasons of your business, if that exists. Doesn't
Yep.
exist for everyone, but
No, absolutely. Um, Demos, absolutely. This will be recorded and emailed to you. And then Nina and then Michael have a question. So let's do Nina's question. 1 second. New to triple well. Oh, here we go. Sorry, Logan. New to triple well. When you're speaking and looking broadly at that ROAS metric, this is going to have duplicate revenue from channels, correct? For instance, the attributed revenue from Google, from Facebook, and Google from the platforms themselves. Do you
so
want to take this?
yeah, I just want to make sure. And if you're new to Triple Whale, that's fantastic. Thanks for being here, and for joining the whale. So when you're looking at the summary page, there is no duplicate revenue. The revenue that we import on this page, except for there is a pixel section, we'll talk about that. But when you see the Shopify logo, that means that revenue is imported from the API of Shopify. So there shouldn't be duplicate sales or orders in this type of view. So ROAS here is simply Shopify reported sales divided by blended ad spend. And so that blended ad spend is your Facebook ad spend, your Google ad spend, but there's no duplication there. It's just simply how much money you spent on those channels, as well as custom expenses. If you've put like, let's say you did a direct mail campaign for $10,000, that would be included as well in your blended ad spend.
There we go. Yep. Nope. Super well put. And that's kind of the beauty of using these macro metrics, is they're essentially attribution agnostic. This is literally what's in your Shopify account and what you've actually spent in terms of ads. Can I give you a curveball, Logan?
Oh no, I'll try.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm the owner of Logan's awesome widget store. Do you include your ad spend in your MER calculation? Or not ad spend, excuse me, your agency fees in your MER calculation? Because we have a really cool feature in custom expenses. You can actually have those custom expenses be included in your ad spend, which would therefore impact your MER and all these other 3 ROAS to rule them all. So if you're, say, I'm just making numbers up here, but say you're paying an agency $10,000 a month to run your ads, would you include that $10,000 a month in your ad spend, because it is costing you more money to run ads than the literal ads? Or if you don't include in your ad spend, where do you internalize that? Because that also wouldn't show up in your gross profit unless you internalized it as ad spend.
Right. I think I've heard different things in the industry. I think it would be okay to do that. But here's where I would play devil's advocate with myself.
Okay.
If you're my media buyer and you're in-house, am I including your salary in MER, right? And
in-house. In-house, I would push back. So let's table in-house. I wouldn't include in-house marketing, because that's a fairly straight
let's
line.
say that was your job. Let's say you were the media buyer, right? That's your job. buy
I
media.
wouldn't include that salary. Let's make it cleaner and say it's an outsourced agency.
Now I'm just using the example. I mean, because I think if it's variable, let's say you're paying the agency 10% of ad spend,
Yep.
that makes a lot more sense to me. As you scale up your ads, their costs increase. It's a variable expense, um, especially in your contribution margin. Maybe put it there.
Yep.
If their expenditure scales with your ad spend or something. Um, but yeah,
Interesting.
I think it'd be fair to put it in ROAS.
Interesting. So that's your bifurcation. So if I charge you a retainer or if I'm salaried, you don't include it. But if I'm charging you a premium to deploy the ads, you would include it because I'm
Yeah.
charging you a percentage of X spend, Y spend. And we actually allow you to do that as well. You can actually do a percent of spend on either total ads or per channel. Um,
But
interesting.
if you don't include it there, then it just has to go into an expense that goes into your profitability. And you just have to
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at
So
it
you
as
do your custom expenses, and then if it's that fixed cost, then you're just looking at that amortized across the month.
yeah.
Interesting. I like it. Um, okay. Do you have okay, take us through what's next. Okay, there's another question. Okay, Jose. Oh, Michael, this is a really good question. All right. Thank you everyone for submitting these questions. They're fantastic. Okay. This and then I actually been smashing these juvies like crazy and I got to run to the restroom. So fill like 2 to 3 minutes for me, Logan, and
Yeah, you got it.
drop the heat on for Michael Avion. That's a cool name. I hope I said it right. How would you analyze your top X% of customers? And then I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Michael, let me say we got one really awesome feature coming to Triple Whale very soon. So this is like a good like softball to give us. We have something called a CDP. It was like our first version of it, and a CDP is a customer data platform. And we have that launching in a couple of weeks. What you'll be able to do there is build custom segments of against your customer list. So I would assume that most people have a slightly different definition for what a top customer is. Is it a customer that has returned 0 times with you all time? Is it a customer that bought a specific product at a really high margin? Is it a customer that has spent over an X amount of dollars with you? You'll actually be able to go into this builder, this customer segment builder, and put in those criteria, and we will spit you out like a count of how many customers are in the segment, how much revenue they've generated for you in the last, or like their first 30 days, their last 60 days, last 90 days. And then you can actually send that audience to Facebook and create a lookalike. You can download it as a CSV. There's a lot of awesome things that are coming with that. So I'm very excited about that. I think that would be your best bet in Triple Whale to analyze customer cohorts. So that'd be really sweet. We can talk offline if you want about how you can do similar things in Klaviyo and Shopify if you're trying to get something nailed down right away. But I would imagine the CDP in a couple of weeks is going to be in the app. So get excited for that. Let's see here. There was a couple of maybe small ones here. What KPIs? We'll get to that in a second. Michael, you asked a secondary question here. I saw 2 different ROASs in the pixel. Let me know which ones you're looking at. There's a lot of ROASs there only because we have platform reported, pixel reported, and then there's new customer ROAS, which is also pixel reported. So there's a lot of different ROASs there, but anything with the floppy disk logo is us. Anything with the platform logo, of course, comes from their platform reported. And then there should be a little question mark icon on top of that, of any of those metrics so that you can understand the definition of them. So let me know if there's anything there that's still ambiguous. You need some help understanding.
Did I miss? It looks like I missed a great answer.
Oh,
What was
I was kind of plugging the CDP. I think that's going to be a really great way to understand various customer segments and visualizing very easily like different definitions and how they definitions of customers and how they stack up against each other. It's gonna be fun.
Ooh, yeah, love that. This is from Kenny Borsak. Kenny, great question. I'll give you my thoughts first, and then I'd love to hear yours, Logan. Um, personally, to Logan's point, this is pretty interesting because these are semi-variable. They're not super variable, but you do get tiered. Um, I think the end of the day, it's about what you want to derive from that data. For me, this would be really close, if not like as operational expense as you get. And so when you're running through your P&L, you would really see these at the operational level, and you can understand that like my business is really good at making money, but I'm operating it inefficiently because my operating expenses are really high. So I wouldn't include Klaviyo postscript fees. I'm kind of coming around to what Logan's saying is, and if it's a percent of like, so say somebody's charging you 10% to deploy your paid media. He has a really good point in the sense of like that's really actually costing you $1.10 to deploy $1 of paid media. So I think it does make sense when people are percent of spend, but for these hard expenses like this, I would really keep them at the operating level, because when you do construct your P&L, you're going to be able to debug that P&L a lot easier and understand that, again, you're making a ton of money. Your marketing is fantastic. Your acquisition machine is fantastic, but the operational level is a little too expensive. And so you can look in ways to get those down. But yeah, what would your take be, Logan?
No, same, same. I mean, I think in even in custom expenses, you can categorize it under marketing. I'm just not sure
Exactly.
I would throw it into ad spend or something like that.
Yep. No, exactly. Really, really awesome. Custom expenses rock, but damn, you realize how much needs to be cut to survive. My MER looks terrible because I add SMS, email, and agency fee. Yeah, and so this is a perfect example, Kenny, of why I would bifurcate the two, because then you can understand, you know, how efficient your actual literal ads are, and then you can understand how much it costs for that infrastructure to enable those ads to be deployed, and then you can kind of start to balance out, or am I putting way more expensive gas in the car, or is the car just really awesome? And so that's a way you can kind of maneuver around that. Great question. So
Yeah, and Kenny, I think like look into FinHub too. I think this might help you visualize the largest cost centers of your business. But like what's really difficult about something like SMS, email, and agency fees is that it it's hard to cut any of those things and say you're truly not going to pay for them, because SMS and email should and can deliver immense returns compared to the cost. And even if you got rid of your agency, then you have to replace the work they were doing. So you're either taking your time, which has a cost associated, or you're going to pay someone else to do it. So although I like the idea of like cutting costs, um, I think you just have to find a right balance for your business. Like how much are you willing to spend for said service?
yep, yep, exactly. And yeah, really well put. Yeah, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, this is the correct calculation. So you're going to take your new customer revenue divided by the total of the new customer orders, and then that'll give you a new customer AOV. So you're absolutely right. I mean, technically, a new customer order and a new customer are going to be very, very similar, because you can only be a new customer once. But yeah, this is how I would calculate in the custom metrics. Okay, who are we missing? Okay, Joseph Lam. Okay, retail is growing rapidly for us, and there's a chance it could match or eclipse DC. What is the best way? This is a great question, Logan. I don't have the answer, but this is a really good question, and I'm sure it's on the roadmap. But Logan is way closer to the product. Fantastic question.
Yeah, let me read it. I'm sorry, I was looking in the questions tab. Retail is. Oh. Yeah, so depends on what you're using. And it depends on your tech stack. So a couple ways. Let's say you're using Fair. I think it's called Fair. Fairing?
Yep.
Fair,
Fair.
not fairing, Fair. Let's
Yep.
say you're using Fair for like your wholesale orders. Fair automatically tags every order with a Fair tag. So you should be able to create, and I can show you this in a minute once we minimize this voting or this question. We can show you how to build this in your dashboard, but you can split out any revenue by order tag as long as there's an order tag. So if you're using Fair, fantastic, it's done automatically. If you're not, then you're going to need to maybe even use like Shopify Flow or contact the tool you're using to power your wholesale orders, and make sure that you tag those orders appropriately. Once they're tagged, you can separate the revenue out.
I love that. And there's also some pretty cool things you can do with tagging. So let me show you here. We don't have actually an integration with Recharge, but I have some custom metrics built off of the order tags in Recharge. And so I can get a really nice view of, some first order things. This isn't as in depth of the Recharge stuff as you would want, but at least I understand how much is coming from a first order subscription, recurring subscriptions, my total subscriptions, as well as a percent of sales. So this is a pretty nice little hack using tags, or not hack, but custom metrics using tags as well. Custom metrics rock. We talked to Kenny. Oh my gosh, you guys have been incredible. What could we do? What if you let's do some swag giveaways, and then just toss any other metrics or any other questions in the metrics. But what is Logan's favorite college football team? The first person to answer that gets free swag. So just toss that into the chat.
How many repeat viewers do we have?
That's right. Yeah, I know. That's what I want to get to. So let's see if they know that. What else? What are you excited about for, Logan? I mean, we have so much. Buffalo Bills, good guess, but this is college football. Ohio, another good guess, but no. It does start with an O. Oh, Bama. No, we have a huge Bama fan. Our head of finance is Roll Tide Roll.
I really appreciate Joseph thinking that I'm a Duke fan. Like maybe I went there or something.
Yeah.
Definitely not smart enough to go to Duke.
Very, very affluent. We'll give you, so it's two letters or two words, excuse me, and one of them starts with an O. The first one starts with
Megan was the closest.
Nick!
There it is.
Look at Nick. Did you need the hint or no hint, Nick? Just out of curiosity, you
Nick
win.
Probably saw the lamp behind me.
No hint. Okay, amazing. Nick, you win some free triple swag. Hit me up with your Addy and size. Very well done, sir. Very well done. Let's see. Let's do one more giveaway. What should the trivia question be?
All right. Let's.
Oh, hold on. Here. We got another question. Oh, cool.
Questions.
I had France for Tomas. I had France for the World Cup favorite. What was yours, Logan?
I mean, I wanted Argentina to win. I thought that'd be great. Because France won the last World Cup, didn't they? I don't know. I mean, back to back's fun, but we got to give the GOAT his trophy. So,
yeah, no, it was what a great game, right? Like that. This World Cup was sensational. It was so good. It was one of the best World Cups I can remember. I mean, it was very, very good. Yeah. Great question. Okay. All right. Well, that's about it, folks. This is the last one for 2023. Oh my gosh. For 2022, excuse me. Let's see. Let's give away some more swag, Logan. What do you want to do? What's next? Oh, yeah. Jose, absolutely. The 3-rule engine before we go, please. What's the 3-rule? What's that?
I think maybe he just meant talk about the rule engine.
Okay. And then let's do Kenny first. Kenny just dropped a new one, and then Jose, we'll get to your question.
Yeah. And I've got to hop off within the next 3 minutes for another meeting, but
cool.
All right,
so real quick,
we'll answer this, and then we'll talk about the rule engine a bit.
Amazing.
Will the pixel data chart have an export? Yes. It would be killer to add other source data. Yeah, if you mean importing data into the pixel, I would say it's on our radar. Not quite as close to the exports will be coming way sooner than that. But I like your idea about adding other source data into the pixel table.
Amazing. And then one last one, because I know you're pushing up against it. The 3-rule engine for Jose.
Yeah, I mean, the rules engine's pretty great. If you haven't already, go to the pixel page, select Facebook. You'll see a little icon. It's 3 little dots, like a triangle. And on that, you'll have a video from me that kind of talks about what it is. I'd watch that video on 1.2x speed, 1.5x speed, get familiar with what's there and what it does, and then review the triple whale strategy. The triple whale strategy was built as kind of a combination of rules for any brand to run because it uses dynamic variables that match your business. So when spend is 3 times your average order value and your CPA is less than your average CPA or something. So anyone can kind of turn this on. If you want to only run one of the rules that's in the strategy, build yourself a new rule and then choose the name in the template. So there's a template. All of these are available as a template. So the thing I would run right away is the add stop loss. So choose the template. I would choose the first add stop loss, the sinking ship. The leaky bucket is more like if you want us to retroactively look through your ads right now, we'll run the rule every day at midnight, your Shopify time zone, and we'll cut off any ads that are basically spending over a certain amount and are giving you no return or no orders. So this one's the one I would run immediately, but the strategy in general I think will help every business. So review the strategy and then just simply turn it on. It'll start running at midnight your time zone. And
Amazing.
yes, you can set up your own rules based on a whole plethora of different metrics.
Yeah, absolutely. Diego, I got you as well. Let me make sure I make these things. Logan, I know you got to dip out, so thank you so much for your time. I will tidy everything else up here. Yeah,
Cool.
the rules are really cool. We're actually low key. I'm going to try and I have 2 people that I'm running rules in the account with, and we're going to take. I'm just basically going to smash a big broad campaign with their top creatives, and I'm going to run my rules campaign versus their actual business as usual campaign. So we'll see if
Oh, cool.
the rules can beat it out or not. But they're really, really neat, and it's a really awesome way to understand how to just kind of set and forget it stuff. So that strategy you guys put together is really, really strong. Yes, recharge video will be coming up soon. I will get everybody's email from that. Anything else, Logan? I know you got a dip.
No, this is great. Thanks so much for everybody for being here, and happy holidays. We'll see you in the new year.
Amazing. We'll see everyone in the new year. Make sure you are subscribed to Whale Mail. Make sure you're in Narwhal Nation. We love all the people in Narwhal Nation. It's our Slack group exclusive to Triple Whalers. And Logan, amazing. Thank you so much for such an incredible year. And 2023, right on the corner. All right, folks,
Great.
let me make these emails down. Logan, you can dip. Thank you so much. Let me
See you
write
guys.
these emails for recharge video. And then amazing, Jose. Awesome. See you in the Slack attacks. Michael, I got your email. Oh, such a great name. All right. Who else we got? Oh, Joey. Absolutely. Joey. Brennan. Amazing. Michael. Diego Campos. All right. ArtCom. Got you, brother. Let's go. Amazing. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, great. And then Nick, don't forget to email me your where you want your swag shipped and then the size. And then I think that's it. Yep, all the emails will be sent directly to your email. We'll send you a follow-up. Megan, did you want the recharge thing or were you just tossing an email in there? And then Tomas, is that the same thing? Did you want the recharge video as well? Okay, cool. Got you, Megan. Not a problem. Fields. And then, okay, cool. Thomas. Yep, I got you. All right, amazing, folks. Thank you so much. Don't forget to sign up for the Whaleys. We'd love to see your beautiful faces here. If you want to get a little bit of a discount, just annoy Kevin in Narwhal Nation. I'm sure he'll hook you up. He's a wonderful human. Thanks so much again. I really appreciate it. I know I'm 5 minutes over, so sorry about that, but thanks so much. Thank you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We'll see everyone on the flip. Let me know if you need anything from us. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you for being the best users and community on planet Earth. All right. It's Raba. I'm out. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.